Welcome to TV on TV. I'm State Representative Tommy Vitolo. You're watching Brookline Interactive Group. Today is Thursday, May 29th, and we have a great show for you today. As always, we have an interview this week with Susan Park, who is the creator and host of Asian Flavors, a television show only available on Big that tries out different Asian restaurants in Brookline. And unlike the typical interview we do, Susan and I have that interview at a restaurant in Brookline. So I want you to stay tuned, check it out. It was wonderful, really delicious. I'm going to save the rest for that. I want to get into the news so we can move on to that interview. The United States Senate will begin debating and making edits to the so-called Big Beautiful Bill that has already passed the House. Senators have expressed concerns over the House's Medicaid language, the cuts to green energy incentives, and changes to SNAP. NPR and several radio stations based in Colorado have sued the Trump administration over the president's executive order to cut off federal funding to public media. The European Commission will recommend countries cut 90% of their planet-warming emissions by 2040. Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey announced Friday that the administration will not enforce minimum electric vehicle sales requirements for model years 2026 and 2027. The Trump administration has suspended all federal contracts with Harvard University and is revoking visas for international students. Massachusetts' population grew 1.9% since 2020, according to new Census Bureau estimates. Brookline Town Meeting met both Tuesday and yesterday and will continue its work next week. The town has announced its plans to implement a new staffing structure for the fire department, allowing the minimum personnel to be reduced from 29 firefighters to 23 before overtime workers would supplement absences. The practical implication is that on some days, some fire trucks would be staffed with 3 firefighters instead of 4, thereby requiring a second truck to arrive before any search and rescue could proceed. Brookline will be hosting its 4th annual Spring Fest on Saturday, May 31st, starting at 11 a.m. at Olmsted Park. So folks, stay tuned. On the flip side, as promised, a wonderful interview on location with Susan Park, the host of Asian Flavors. Stay tuned. And we're back here on TV, only on Brookline Interactive Group. And as promised, we have an interview with Susan Park, who's got a television show we want to get into. But let me explain why this does not look like my living room or my office. We are actually on site, which is not something we do very often, but it's also not very often that I get a free lunch out of the deal. So, we take the shots where we can. But really, I'm just excited today to interview Susan Park, who has a new show on Big, Asian Flavors with Susan. And Susan, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Tommy. It's always so fun being on a show with you.
So I've been on lots of shows. We've probably done about 150 here on Brookline Interactive Group, plus the election results show and other things. But I think Asian Flavors with Susan is your first show on Big. How's it going?
It's been great, Tommy. It's been so fun working with Brookline Interactive Group and with the production team, with Heather Hamilton, with Dom, Marina. They've just been fabulous. So this is our 7th episode, I think our final episode for the year, and we've just had so much fun exploring North Brookline, Coolidge Corner, and now here we are at Eru in the Brookline Village.
So how did this come about? Were you just sitting around one day thinking I should eat more on camera? How did this show come about in the first place?
So I got a heads up from our wonderful the president of the board of Big, which is Eric Hyatt, and he told me, we've got a brand new executive director named Jessica Smizer, and she was working with she was the executive director for the Cambridge Community TV. And so she came on the Brookline Interactive Group and she asked if we could have coffee. So we did. And we were just talking, and she said it would be so great if you have any ideas. We really want to capture something for the AAPI community, especially because May is AAPI Heritage Month here in Brookline, and she really wants to do something good. And I said, a show would be fun. And then we just kind of were talking about it, and I said, why don't we do a show interviewing some restaurants, because there's so many here in Brookline.
So there's so many, but you don't have time to interview at all of them. You don't have time to sample all of them, at least not in season 1. So how did you decide which ones you're going to do, and how do you figure that out?
Yeah, so thanks for the question, Tommy. Well, I love our small businesses. I love our restaurants here in Coolidge Corner and in Brookline. And honestly, I love supporting them. And really, I contacted a lot of the restaurants that I have been to a lot, because I have built relationships with them, and a lot of them were like immediately they wanted to do this. And but I also contacted other restaurants that are new, and so really it was like that. And I kind of cast the net, and I sent out some emails, and the ones that replied back are the ones that we got to film.
Now, I want to let the viewers know, as they know, it's a recorded interview. We're not live. And we're doing this show in the middle of the afternoon, so we're not disturbing a lunch crowd or a dinner crowd. I don't want people to think, I don't want to go to that restaurant. There's nobody there. It can't be any good. On the contrary, we film at a time that doesn't disturb diners, because we want to have a conversation. We've got cameras. We've got a production team. And, we don't want to disturb anybody else. Can you give me a little sense of what do we have before us?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say I was so excited about Iru, because Iru is brand new in Brookline Village. And it's a Korean omakase, and omakase means a tasting menu. So this is a Korean tasting menu, and basically we have 9 little side dishes, and in Korean it's called panchan. And panchan is side dishes. So usually at Korean restaurants you do get side dishes, and this looks so fresh and delicious. But we have marinated cucumber, spicy radish. We have marinated spinach, marinated seaweed, and this is, of course, the iconic kimchi. Kimchi is like the Korean side dish. We do a lot of different things with kimchi. Here's seaweed, little baby anchovy, bean sprouts, and zucchini. And of course, here we have shrimp, like a soy sauce shrimp, and a lot of people even eat the heads of the shrimp. And this is japchae, which is a very the famous Korean glass noodles. And then here is the prize dish. It's chicken samgyuptang. And the thing about this is, I just have memories of when I went to Korea about, I want to say 20 years ago. My mother-in-law, she just kept talking about how we have to go to this chicken soup restaurant, because this dish is supposed to be like the cure-all. Like if you're sick, you're not feeling good, or even if you're healthy, you have this and you're just going to be good to go.
Now, I'm no Anthony Bourdain. I'm also not of Asian heritage at all. So I'm reasonably handy with chopsticks, but would I pull from each of these dishes to go right to the mouth, or do you let... How do I use this? How do we do this? Show me what we're doing here.
Great question, Tommy. So you take your chopsticks, okay, snap them open, and the Korean culture, it's all about just sharing food, and it's the company at the table. So you just take it and just eat it. You just take it, and of course, barring if anyone's sick, of course you wouldn't. Then you would probably put it on your plate, but neither one of us is sick. And you basically just you can try everything. But the thing about these side dishes is that you eat the main dish, and as you're eating the main dish, then you eat the side dishes. So you wouldn't just sit here and eat just the side dishes. It usually comes with the main dish.
Maybe a vegetarian would, but I'm not, and you're not. So I wonder if we can get this thing cooking.
Yeah.
Should we get this thing started?
Okay, so Chef Moe.
I'm gonna turn this on. All right, so you're not too warm?
No.
When it's ready, I'm gonna come and break down the chicken. Meanwhile, enjoy all the banchan, so kimchi and everything. It is original recipe from chef's mother, Hajime-san's mother, founder Park San-chu, who's from Korea. And so we prepare everything in house. Enjoy a little bit, but don't eat everything. Leave it for the samgyetang, our main dish, and then enjoy a little bit.
Thank you, Chef. Can I just ask you one thing, Chef, since you're here? Is there anything you want to tell us about the samgyetang?
Samgyetang. So this is very unique in its own way. So usually in Korea, samgyetang doesn't come with seasoned. It doesn't come seasoned. So, but chef's Okami-san, when she moved to Japan, she had an incident where she was having cold noodle soup. But in Japan, the noodle and the soup come separately, and you're supposed to dip. But she didn't know what to do, so she ended up putting the soup into the noodle. So she understand that like sometimes introducing something new into different culture, you have to kind of wrap your head around into how to make it easier. So in Japan, there is no tradition of adding salt or pepper after the soup arrives. So she decided, okay, as out of kindness and from her own mistake, so that her guests won't make the same mistake and think the soup is bland, she decided to season the soup. So that's the main difference between like the traditional Korean way of serving samgyetang. And some places do serve a whole, but most places serve as a smaller piece for the personal servings. But here we serve it in a big bowl to kind of emphasize in like connection and like union. So I'll bring the tools to bring
I have a question. Now, what I am discovering
Yes.
is at least some of these are spicy, and it's a surprise for me.
Yeah.
Tell us about the ones that are spicy.
Okay, so the kimchi's got like the is like a fermented.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kimchi is fermented. So this is not the cabbage, daikon, radish, and cucumbers. I find I don't usually eat too spicy. And some Korean restaurant I find kimchi is even spicier, but here not crazy spicy. It's a little bit toned down. But so those are the spicy dishes that it takes a few days to prepare. The customers have kimchiでどのくらい
Yeah, these three are spicy.
漬け込むくらいですかね。So kimchi takes 4 to 5 days from starting to finish, but we do make everything in house.
Amazing.
The kimchi is fresh every time you arrive here. And then these are banchan. So banchan dishes are typically like fish, mostly vegetables. This is seaweed. This is spinach, zucchini, and bean sprouts.
Yes.
I'll bring back the tool to break the luncheon since it's actually ready.
Thank you so much.
So, production, right? How many people are involved in making your show, and you know what goes into the show? Everybody sees your smiling face on television, but there's more to it than that.
Oh yeah, I mean, like even like right now, for example, we have Heather Hamilton behind the camera. So Heather has been here at every single viewing, or every single recording. And then there's Dom. So Dom is here. She's the director of productions. And Marina, she's the production manager. So she's here. And then they've also had their intern, Yvonne. And Yvonne was interning, and I think she left a few weeks ago. Yeah.
And
sometimes they have like this umbrella or this thing that makes sure the lighting is right. And I mean, it's a production. It takes about 20 minutes to set up, 30 minutes.
And so, what are the shows that is this the last show? Have you already done the other 6? Or?
Yeah. So we've already done the other 6. We started at Mecha Noodles on Harvard, and that's right by the Booksmith across from the theater. And then we went over to Jin's, Jin Gourmet Chinese Restaurant.
Jin's been there a while.
Yes, they've been there a long time. It was and we also went over to Soup Shack. So we recorded actually 3 in one day. Yes.
Wow.
So I made sure I didn't eat. No, the day before, no. But anyway, so then the next day we filmed two. We filmed Lawn Feast and Kung Fu Kitchen. And Lawn Feast is another new restaurant, and Kung Fu Kitchen is right on Beacon, next to Santander's Bank. Yeah. And then we also did Bell 86. Bell 86 is also a Korean restaurant in right on Harvard. They're new also, and the same day I interviewed the principal of the Korean school, and which was cool because it was nice to get the word out that if anyone wants to learn some Korean, even if they want to learn a little bit, there's resources here and there's a school.
I love it.
Is this one of your signature dishes?
This is the signature dish.
Oh, so excited.
One of the reasons, そうですね、はるみさん、この後ろに書いてるのって Samgyetang to the world? This. So this one.
Oh,
The
yeah.
main dish to the world. He would love to introduce this specific Samgyetang to the world,
Okay.
and kind of through serving this dish, his hope is to kind of share his mother's kindness
Yes.
and warmth.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Enjoy.
Okay.
So the population of Brookline is roughly 20% Asian.
Yes.
The restaurants in Brookline are more than 20% Asian, which means some combination of everybody likes Asian food.
Yeah.
So are we seeing more and more folks from outside of Brookline coming to Washington Square, Brookline Village, Coolidge Corner, specifically for Asian food?
Absolutely, Tommy. I have friends who live in Waban, Newton, Boston, and they all told me about, oh, and be careful of the bone. They all told me about Kung Fu Kitchen before I even knew about it. And you know what I mean? So it's like a lot of people are coming into Coolidge Corner just to go to all these restaurants. Yeah.
It's not just restaurants, there's also 2 Asian grocery stores.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, right, the Marucci. Every time I go to Marucci, it is packed, and it seems like there's a lot of students in Marucci also. Yeah, and then the H Mart, and I just think, and H Mart, in other cities, being Korean, and H Mart is a Korean grocery store, I mean, people will drive an hour to go to an H Mart. So I'm absolutely sure that people outside of Brookline are coming in for these businesses.
Do you think that the businesses and the grocery stores can become an attractive force for Asians to move to Brookline instead of somewhere else in the Boston metro because we're kind of becoming a little bit of a hub of a culture?
I think so. I think so only, and the reason why I say that is because, I mean, I know for everyone, for most people, and I don't want to generalize, but grocery stores are important, but also for Koreans or Japanese or, especially because I'm Korean and my mom grew up in Japan, getting ingredients and food that are Korean or Japanese is very important. And like I said, people drive an hour just for the ingredients. And there's some ingredients that you just can't get from Amazon. There's fresh produce. And so I really do think that it's a draw to move to Brookline. And I mean, just even personally, like I have a friend who's thinking about Brookline or Cambridge. And the number of times that she has said to me, you are so lucky that you have not only H Mart, but Marucci, and you have those restaurants. And so the last time I heard, she was looking at real estate in Brookline. So I definitely think it's a draw.
It makes sense to me. And in fact, I've been in a few restaurants later in the evening. A lot of young people. Right, a lot of young people coming out in groups. And when they leave, they're waiting on Ubers, right? So they're not they don't necessarily live right here, but
Yeah.
they're going where the getting's good.
Yeah.
And I think it's exciting. I think it's exciting. I'm glad that you're covering some of these restaurants. I'll tell you, for me, I see these restaurants pop up, and I don't know how to figure it out. You know, it's like you can just spend the money and go anywhere. But are there any clues for things that folks should be looking for and finding the next best place to eat in Brookline? What are we looking for?
Well, I mean, of course, the quality of food is always very important. It's like, we're going to go to the restaurant that tastes good. And I feel so lucky to live in an area where, oh my gosh, all the Asian restaurants are delicious. They're like high quality, really good. And we're so happy. And it's so good that, I mean, like, we live in a world-class city, like next to Boston. And, the number of times that I'm thinking, there's so many restaurants out there, and I have so little time, and I'm just like, I want to venture out. But in many ways, they're so good right here that I stay right here. And it's so nice that it's like we're walking distance. So, I mean, as far as clues, like, I mean, I really think that Brookliners we're really lucky for the quality of Asian restaurants.
Now, have the restaurateurs, the chefs, the wait staff, and others given you any feedback about their relationship with the town, or how it's going, or they wish they could stay open later, or they can't figure out what Sunday brunch is supposed to look like? Are you getting any feedback from the restaurants themselves?
I mean, I haven't heard anything negative. I mean, I think most businesses that come to Brookline and can stay in Brookline and can flourish in Brookline they feel lucky that they can stay here. So, like Gins, for example, I interviewed Gins. They've been here for years and years and years, and everyone knows Gins. And they have told me they love being in Brookline, and so I don't really hear anything negative. I mean, of course, like other businesses, of course we hear, because Brookline's real estate is high. We have seen some businesses close.
The rents are high.
Yes, the rents are high. Yeah, that's what I meant. So we have seen that, but I mean, I haven't really heard about the restaurants, just because it's not like I've asked them like, why are you leaving or whatnot. But the restaurants that I've interviewed, they all seem happy to be here.
So have you thought about season 2? Can we join?
Yeah, actually, yeah, Jessica, the executive director, she did ask. She said, let's do this again next year. Yeah, so there will be a season 2. And the episodes will be released in May of next year, 2026.
Now, I have the benefit of sitting down with someone who's Korean, whose mother grew up in Japan, so you have this sort of Pan-Asian cultural experience. What restaurants should other people be checking out so you can watch on TV and get their view?
You mean in Brookline or?
So you're doing Asian restaurants.
Yeah.
What other kinds of restaurants should get a TV show?
You know what? So Brookline Interactive Group, they are open to new ideas. They're open to new shows. And so, I mean, really, if anyone has an idea for a show, I mean, it could be anything. I saw that there was Indian dancing. Someone did a show on Indian dancing. And so I think if anyone wants to do a show on anything, it could be, as far as restaurants, any other restaurants, like, but I mean, I guess to answer that question, though, I think I would just encourage anyone who's interested in sharing a talent or sharing something that they love, or they see something here in Brookline that they want to showcase, give the Brookline Interactive Group a call or an email, because I think they are looking for ideas. You know? Or you know what? The other thing is like bakeries. Maybe a show on the bakeries. There's so many.
Bad.
Yeah, on the cafes or the coffee.
Have you been doing the show? Have you been surprised by any of these? Anything either not work the way you thought it would, or things that you were nervous about that seemed to go okay? What has surprised you in doing the show?
I think overall, making this show, it's just been a delight. It's been so fun. Maybe the thing that I was surprised at how much I would like it. You know, like I was really happy. I was thrilled to do something with Big, and I was really happy to, come up with this idea. But to actually do it, and then to meet the owners and the chef, and working with Big and Heather and Dom and Marina, like it's just been so like really special. So.
You were telling me earlier you've gotten some positive feedback from the fans.
Yeah. So the fans are saying, hey, we've never seen a show like this before. We've been thinking about exploring these restaurants. We really didn't know what to order. And so like people are saying that like, thank you for doing this, because I want to venture out. I want to check this out. I didn't know that they had that. So it's been cool.
So I have a recommendation. You're going to get a little plaque put in the window as featured on Asian Flavors with Susan. Put it right on the right in the window, right?
Yes.
That's a clue for me. Unless it's like, but so far so good, right?
Yeah, no, I love that idea. I'm going to do that.
I love it. I love it. Any final words? Any last advice for restaurant goers? Any suggestions for the fans? What's the last thing you need to know about?
You know, to anyone who's watching the show Asian Flavors with Susan, I just think there's something special that happens when you have a meal at the table across from your friends, your family, and you explore something new, you taste something new, and all I know is a lot of awesome conversations that happen was over a meal at a restaurant. And so I just encourage everyone, come check out these restaurants. Come to Iru. Come to Bell 86, Jin, Soup Shack, Mecha, Kung Fu Kitchen, and Lan Feast. Check out the Korean School. And, I think you'll be happy.
Well, Susan, thank you for coming on the show. And we're very grateful for your time and for your work on your show. I'm sure my viewers will be checking it out. And folks, that's all for this week. It's been another great show, TV on TV, only on Brookline Interactive Group. And we're going to continue enjoying this meal, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.